Hello everyone, welcome back to It's Time to Leave. It's time to leave. I'm Drunken Dan.
Man. Um, I think Resident Evil 3, the remake, was probably one of the most frustrating games I've played in a long time.
Yeah, I do remember you talking about that.
Because it's one of those things where it was like just on the cusp of being great, and yet it shit the bed for... It feels weird to me that they come out and they tell us, and they told us bullshit that, like, oh, this game had, like, more development time than
It clearly
RE2
didn't.
did. And it's like, no, it was clearly like a game that you shit out in a year. It's the kind of thing where it was ironically more like what RE3 was originally intended to be. You know, the whole, oh, it was just a side game that you just shit out in a year and nobody cares about. Or,
Yeah, and you can tell, like, even though I overall like the gameplay pull of it better because of it being more action-oriented, feeling more like what 3 wanted to do, but it's definitely not a good remake in the sense that it cut a lot of content and sections from the game, and it was definitely rushed out because it like came out like ridiculously quick after 2. You can tell the development time was not long on that thing.
So the reason I kind of thought about this because the main thing that the main thing I was going to point out is that Resident Evil 3's demo is incredibly misleading as to what that game was actually like.
Mm.
Because you played that I don't know if you ever played that demo, but the demo is basically just like the
first chunk of the game, yeah.
Yeah, and you're like, wow, this is so... Because you think, oh, this is just like Resident Evil 2, you think it's going to be like very in keeping with this, like this is a snapshot of what the game is, and that it's very much not. So anyway, Resident Evil 8 I will say this, it's a good game. Like, I will preface everything I'm going to say with it's a good game.
The one thing I'll say, just me as someone who doesn't like first-person horror and, won't get it, I'll say from what I've seen, like, the game looks good for one of those kind of games. It's not something I want, but it looks good for what it is.
I'll say this, the worst mistake Resident Evil made was going first-person.
Yeah, I don't like first-person horror.
I think the first-person itself is bad, but it's so fundamentally un-Resident Evil.
Yeah, I don't. It just
I'm not opposed to first-person horror. I just think that I honestly wish RE7 and RE8 had been like a new franchise, or even if they didn't want to, if they wanted to just say Resident Evil, like just call it Resident Evil and have stylistic similarities, but don't have any returning characters or plots because goddamn, they don't know what the fuck they're doing. And yeah, they never did, but goddamn, especially. So yeah, there's gonna be heavy spoilers for RE8. So
yeah,
solid guys, if you've not played it.
Originally, I was gonna avoid spoilers, but A, he's already played it, and B, I don't care that much about Resident Evil's plots. Even the ones I like, I'll even joke about their plots and how dumb they are.
I definitely enjoy it because I'm on my third playthrough, mostly to get bonus content stuff, you know. But so. It's the kind of thing where the first half of the game is really good, and then it just kind of loses it after. Like, Castle Dimitrescu is a really good segment. You know, it's a really fun environment to move around, and well, it sucks that Lady.
Is it kind of like how 4 has some good ideas, but overall cannot do fucking atmosphere to save its life?
Funny you mentioned 4 because RE8 definitely feels like a game of. Man, RE4 mate's coming. Let's do as much of RE4 as we can. No, it's like actually kind of insane how much the game just steals from RE4.
That's not good because that means I will not like it because I do not like 4.
Like the entire setup is, oh, you got to go and rescue a daughter. I mean, granted, yeah, president's daughter versus your own daughter.
Bit of a difference.
But it's still the whole, you come to this vaguely European village, which I also find hilarious that it's still a European village because literally everyone talks an American accent. Like, holy fuck.
I think they pretty much were like, yeah, we can't do like what we did back in 4 where everyone has like a very thick cartoonish accent.
I don't know, I kind of find it I would think it's even more offensive to then just sort of say, yeah, but everyone's just American.
I mean, I agree, but I'm just saying how people tend to be with stuff. Anyway.
Just get voice actors who natively speak.
You say that, but I want to point out how much people complained about Tracer's accent when the voice actress was British.
I mean...
They're like, man, her accent is fake. It was literally just her voice.
People are so used to the fake accent, they're not quite processed the real one.
Yeah, maybe.
But so yeah, aside from obviously, you got to rescue a daughter, and then you go to a vaguely European village that's effectively run by a cult that has turned the villagers into into monsters that serve the cult.
Oh, that sounds familiar.
And key figures in the region, i.e., the aristocracy who own a castle, are now the lieutenants to this cult leader.
This sounds familiar.
And also, there are parasitic creatures that that help control people's minds.
Was anybody armed with ballistics other than the vampire lady everyone was going horny after?
No.
Oh.
No, it's barely any women characters in the game.
Oh.
I mean, I'm not saying that as like a point. It's just there's no like Ashley. There's no Ashley equivalent.
I just wanted to make the joke.
There's a character in it called Louisa who I was like, oh, if they reveal that she's like fucking Lewis's sister or something, or aunt or whatever. But no, she's just some random person who dies like 2 seconds after she's introduced. And you're like, well, what's even the fucking point of this then? But I mean, I'm trying to put all the good points I can, because the fucking...
You want to compound them first before...
The back half of the game just pisses me off so much. So, like, okay, after Castle Dimitrescu, you then have, like...
Oh yeah, I do know it brought back my favorite mechanic, Tetris inventory.
Oh, I mean, that's fun. I mean, a lot of people like that.
I'm not really a fan.
It barely factors into it. Like, I never had a point where I was like, oh no, I don't have enough space.
I just don't like it. It's just annoying. It's just like, now I gotta move this thing.
It's nowhere near the level of RE4 where you have to, like, where inventory management matters, because RE8's not really has anything like the amount of items and stuff you need to manage that RE4 did. So that could be a benefit or a minus, depending on if you like playing inventory Tetris.
Yeah, I'm just not a fan of inventory Tetris.
But man, it basically rips off all of RE4, including environments, because obviously there's the big castle area, and then there's the factory/lab area. And goddamn, the replacement for regenerators is not great in RE8.
Oh, they have their own regenerator.
Well, they have their own, like, elite unit that's basically just for that area, but whereas regenerators at least had something interesting going for them, the RE8 version is just, hey, it's just like every other enemy, but they're even more bullet spongy.
Yeah, like, I make fun of the regenerator. I will say the first time you fight one and you have to figure out their gimmick is pretty cool. I mean, after that, they're pretty much just like, oh, bang. But, so they are cool the first time you see them. That is still, like, even with me making fun of it, and I've made fun of it in the past, it is still better than just more bullet.
But yeah, the Soldat, which is the regenerator equivalent, is, yeah, we're heavily armored except for this big glowing weak point. You know, basically what Birkin has, but it's not in a boss fight. It's just a regular enemy that you fight a lot in that entire area. And man, that factory segment just goes on too long, because it's not a fun environment to sort of traverse like Castle Dimitrescu or RPD is, because everything looks the fucking same. So you just dick around in this area that you don't care too much about, and it just goes on forever, because it's like meant to be one of the last parts of the game. And it's just frustrating, but not in the good way.
Right.
It's just frustrating in the are we still here way. How many more hoops do I have to jump through?
Nah, I know that feeling in games.
One of the neat things about RE8 is it does have puzzles, unlike most Resident Evil games, which use the X.
Yeah, Resident Evil games haven't really had puzzles since like the first part of 4. And mind you, there's a reason I say the first part of 4, because 4 drops them pretty quick.
But and also the village is like basically a very sort of scaled down version of the RE4 village, but it is like sort of open world, so it's a nice area to explore. I kind of wish you actually had more to do in the village, mostly because the household you do the second, not really a boss fight because it is just flat out. There's like the second sort of boss fight is basically just where Resident Evil was like, hey look guys, we're an indie horror game, and just makes it so there's no real enemies to fight, and you just kind of move from sort of
jump scare to jump scare.
There's actually very little. There's basically no jump scares apart from like when you meet the one enemy in that segment, and it's like, that bit. It's just basically you fight. There's an evil fetus that screams at you.
Okay, not the jump scare indie horror, the chase indie horror.
Yes.
Indie horrors come in two flavors, and those are the two. Sometimes they have a bit of both.
It's the I played Amnesia segment of the game, and it's fine. It's one of those things where it's good on the first run through, but the second run through very much makes you go, yeah, okay, because you can't. Because unlike with RE7, where you had like a similar kind of event or segment in the like trap room thing, you also have to like you could kind of sequence break that to save time, whereas you can't really do that in RE8. There's another thing. It basically does also like what it doesn't lift from RE4. It lifts from RE7.
I mean, it's the same team to be fair, but yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, there's a difference between like doing like there's a difference between like the same stylistic or similar stylistics and then just flat out the same basic structure. Including like, you fight the first boss is the character who stalks you through the area, and then you do like the big fight with them. Okay, and then the second one is like this big creepy body horror thing. Ooh, and it's in like this really kind of desiccated. And...
it's the I played a Clock Tower / Haunting Grounds set.
Sort of. I mean, it's only Lady Dimitrescu, and it's only Dimitrescu where you actually stalked by anything. Ironically enough, the third area of the game is actually kind of gave me Sonic Adventure vibes, because there's a part where you have to run away from a giant fish monster in a lake, which you might remember is also in RE4.
I was gonna say, wait a minute.
The only thing it doesn't have an El Gigante. Well, I mean, it has a giant enemy, but it's not like El Gigante sized.
Yeah. El Gigante is still like one of the biggest fucking things I think. It's like the second biggest thing Resident Evil's thrown. I had to correct myself immediately because I remembered that one thing in 6.
I was gonna say, doesn't 6 have a fucking kaiju?
Yeah, there's literally a kaiju you have to fight in 2 of the routes.
Also, RE5, because you have what's his face, arm dealer guy.
I literally don't remember them.
He becomes the giant fish monster that's different from the other giant fish monster and the other giant fish monster. And you fight him on the boat. And then there's when Excella becomes Ricardo Irving, that was it. And then there's the point where Excella Giant, or whatever her last name is, becomes the Ouroboros thing that you have to satellite kill.
Ouroboros.
Man, I actually fucking wish. I'm almost at this point. I kind of wish we just brought Wesker back because they have no idea what the fuck they're doing. So to just go into the actual spoilers for the shit that kind of pisses me off. So the end reveal is that Chris never wasn't evil all along.
Surprise face.
But it's fucking worse than even I was expecting. I was expecting like hallucinations or mind control or something. No, it just turns out that the woman you thought was Mia in the opening isn't Mia. She's the main villain who shapeshifts into other people, which you think might be relevant, but it's not. Like, yeah, she just turns out she was shapeshifted to pretend to be your wife so she could snatch your baby. And you're like, well, wait a minute, if she was already shapeshifted and nobody knew that Chris knew, why didn't she just steal the baby anyway? I don't have answers for that, I'm afraid. Played the game twice, I've read every file. I don't know why. Okay. So it feels bad when your main villain is not even in the game. Well, not really. And then the reveal... and then it feels even better because then it's like, well, why didn't Chris just say literally anything? I mean, the real reason is because if he did, there would be no game. Like, Ethan would...
Yeah, there would be no game, but it also makes no sense for Chris's character.
But you know what feels even worse? Is that the actual marketing feels super disingenuous because, oh look, if you look at the box art, who's on the box art? It's Chris Redfield.
It's Chris with like a yellow eye and shit too.
It's Chris overlapped with the wolf face. You're like, oh my god, Chris is in this game, and he's not.
It's the Wolverine effect.
It basically should just have a sticker that says Chris Redfield does not appear in this game. He has like the opening cutscene where he shoots Mia and it's just needlessly aggressive to Ethan, when he could have just said, "Hey, look, I know how this looks, but it's not what you think." I
Oh,
promise.
you mean like if they wrote Chris like Chris, because that's what Chris would actually do. Like I make fun of Chris for not being that interesting, but even I understand Chris would be like, "Hey, we need to talk."
No, but it's fine because one of the bosses calls Chris a bold, punching asshole. Dead serious. So yeah, the end reveal of Chris wasn't evil all along. Just turns out, and I was like, man, that's awful because Mia should have been the main villain. I'm sorry. She's a fucking, and she's built fucking BOWs for not Umbrella. Oh, that's another thing they just kind of casually drop, right? So you know the BSAA.
Yes.
The big good organization.
Yeah.
That's fighting BOWs. Yeah, there's a point where they sort of appear, and then it turns out they're dropping BOW soldiers to deal with this. And I'm like, wait, so we're just going to make the BSAA evil? What about all the other characters involved in the BSAA? Are we just not going to talk about that? Like, why is it we get rid of Umbrella to have new improved Umbrella because it's blue, and now we just make the BSAA the new Umbrella? So that was dumb.
That is stupid.
And then also you can find a letter that reveals that Spencer hung out with the main villain of this game because she's immortal. Because the fungus. And you're like, oh, okay. Oh, we're doing this now, are we? And then it turns out that this is actually the origin story of how Umbrella got its symbol, because there's an ancient civilization that was super advanced that was resided in the area, and then
I don't really know anything about Resident Evil's plot, and even I think this is stupid.
And then
you can't even see my face right now, but I just hope you feel it.
But yes, there was an ancient civilization that just kind of mysteriously disappeared one day, but they left behind a symbol. Can you guess what the symbol is?
An umbrella.
It's an umbrella logo.
This is so goddamn stupid.
It's the origin story
this
of
is
Umbrella's
so
logo.
So goddamn.
I told you it was worse than you thought.
Oh my god, this is so fucking dumb. Oh my god.
Even dumber because then, because then, spoilers, there's a segment where you play as Chris, and then all of Chris's team is like, why didn't you tell Ethan? That was a really dumb thing to do, Chris. And Chris is like, yeah, I know.
You know, pointing out your problems doesn't make them go away.
Thanks,
when will writers learn that pointing your problem out doesn't make it go away?
Oh, and then also the big reveal is it turns out Ethan is actually dead all along.
Bum bum bum.
Because at that point in 7, when they were like, man, it's weird that Ethan survives a whole bunch of shit that should kill him, but he just uses magic heal juice, and that's how he can reattach hands and shit like that. So, and then you're like, oh, it makes sense because in RE7 they reveal, oh, he was infected by Eevee, so that makes him evil. That makes him, just like the Bakers, but not quite. And then they revealed that, hey, he's infected with the mold stuff, and that makes him survivable. And I'm like, you already told me this last game, guys. This isn't a reveal.
We're revealing what we revealed.
So then they kill Ethan, and then he comes back, and then I'm like, oh, okay, so when he dies at the end of the game again, I have no reason to believe he's actually for real dead this time either. I don't know, I feel like you can't just walk back, dude gets his heart ripped out and he walks it off, and then expect me to have any kind of, like,
can't do it twice.
It's like, I mean, I'm sure he won't be back, but I'm like, I feel like it's an ass pull to say he won't be back. But, so yeah, it's the kind of thing where the more I think about the plot, the more I'm like, this is a different game.
This is dumb, even for Resident Evil. Like,
it's like they learned all the wrong lessons from the Resident Evils that was successful.
I mean, isn't that what they've always ever learned? Were all the wrong lessons?
Yeah, but then they relearned. But then they seemed to be back on track with RE2, and then and then I was hoping RE3 would be more of a case of, well, maybe they just rushed it out. It's still good. It's still good.
Well, 7, to be fair, was in development before they even knew. No, 7, 8 was in development before they even knew the reception for 7. The one thing that they changed when they were working on the game, when they realized that 7 did well, was they're like, oh, because I'm gonna reveal I do know a little bit about the development. They were like, oh, okay, well we're gonna make Ethan the main character again, and they also were like, also we really really wanted to look at Resident Evil 4 for inspiration. I already was aware that they went to Resident Evil 4 for their ideas.
I mean, there's a difference between being inspired by and just fucking stealing everything.
Like, we want our cast to... We didn't want, like, monsters. We wanted them, like, be, like, people and be filled with memorable characters, just like Resident Evil 4.
Well, I mean, there's Lady Dimitrescu. She's memorable.
I'm gonna be real. I want people to tell me anything about that character that isn't, she's hot and I want her to step on me. I challenge everybody who likes her. That's my chilling challenge.
Well, there's there's a lot of interesting kind of like backstory stuff you find in the files that reveal like that basically she has a that she's got like some kind of weird, even before like getting molded, she's got like some kind of genetic defect, and that implies to be what's the origin of her like vampiristic tendencies. She was a pretty cool boss fight as well.
I know if she turns into a fuck off dragon.
I would say it's more of a gargoyle / bat, but
Yeah, so same, whatever. Big winged thing.
Hey, if it doesn't breathe fire and it doesn't grant wishes, it ain't a dragon.
Not all dragons know the wish spell.
No, but all dragons who don't know the wish spell know how to breathe fire.
No, I mean sometimes they can breathe lightning, or acid, or ice.
Acid dragons don't count. They're just glorified Komodo dragons.
You're just mad that your dragons are lame.
Acid dragons aren't cool. They've never been cool. They're the try-hardiest of dragons. The dragons are try-hardy already.
The only dragons that are tryhards are the stupid one from Skyrim.
Well, I guess Randy Savage?
That is the best mod for them. Yes.
I don't think I've ever actually seen a dragon in Skyrim. I've only ever seen like Macho Man Randy Savage or Thomas the Tank Engine.
That's because most people don't play the game unmodded because nobody actually likes Skyrim.
Because it's a bad game. Because it's a bad, unplayable game if you don't play it modded. I said it.
It is.
But yeah, all in all, RE8's a good game. But I mean, if you're a long-time fan of Resident Evil, it's fucking dumb. It makes me mad. It hankers me, and it reminds me a lot of RE3, and not in the good way. But yeah, I'll stop talking about a game. I'll stop talking about the game, so Saber doesn't feel just completely left out now.
I was like, well, whatever.
Hold on, I'll leave him out more. So anyway, Ace Combat.
I actually looked up a bit of Ace Combat, and it looks more interesting than I thought.
Oh, it's really fun.
Alright, the best way I can sell it to you is it is probably the closest you'll get to like a really good like mainstream made Gundam game. And I say this because like all the Gundam games that come out aren't mainstream; they're more proper niche titles.
Yeah.
They're not like AAA kind of money and budget thrown at them.
Usually,
I first looked at it and I was like, "Oh, fighter combat, yeah, that's real interesting." All right. But then I watched a video of it, and I'm like, "Oh, okay, that's actually kind of interesting story they have going on there."
Yeah, and it gets even like it's kind of like the weird halfway point between like, you know, Macross, Gundam, and Metal Gear in terms of the story and the set pieces.
Oh yeah, I just finished the mission where you end up saving you end up saving the mechanic chick and the princess.
Yeah.
And then they start talking about how they want to destroy the Space Needle.
What space elevator?
So that's where I am in the story right now. So I know I'm near the end of the regular game and closing in then on the DLC. But right now I kind of stopped because I want to grind out getting the F-22. Unfortunately, to get the F-22, I had to buy the 35.
Yeah. So as I said, the best mission to do to grind stuff is the
battleship mission.
Yeah. It's pretty good. What did you think of Arsenal Bird? Like getting to fight that. And I'm assuming you took my advice and didn't bring the A10 to that mission.
Oh, when it showed up when you're defending the thing?
Yeah, where you're like, oh man, this is a fun. This is.
Oh yeah, I brought one. I brought. I think I was piloting the F-15 at the time.
Yeah, that's solid enough.
Because that was what I had. That was the best thing I had because I didn't have the Su-32 or any of those yet.
I wish the F-15 would come in red and grey colours.
I wish I could paint it the old stupid first game colors.
No, but you don't see the F-15 is it's Starscream.
No, yeah, no, you're right.
He doesn't want to be Starscream, apart from basically anyone. But yeah, that's probably like one of the.
But yeah, no, it was fun. The Arsenal Bird fight. So what actually happened to me though was I had to do the Arsenal Bird section of it, and I ended up having the point of low ammo to where I was shooting the 2 missiles at a time thing and just barely skated by.
So I'll try and also Sable on Ace Combat 7 a bit more. So in the DLC, so you know Outer Haven, right, from MGS4?
Oh, yes.
Alright, imagine Outer Haven if it was also crossed with Arsenal Gear, and then also had a little bit of Metal Gear X in it. And then basically imagine that, but it's a boss fight, and it's an entire stage, and it's Jet versus Mega Submarine with nuclear capabilities that launches drones. It's pretty fucking great.
Listen, it doesn't have a chance. It doesn't have a chance though.
I kind of want to play as that and not the fighters.
Listen, though, that thing doesn't have a chance against the fighter pilot. That fighter pilot's been to prison.
It wasn't a real prison though. It was fake prison on the fake base.
What?
Yeah, I watched it where they're like, "Oh yeah, all our fighters are prisoners and we treat them like garbage." And I was like, "Oh, okay."
Well, it's because it's because they basically just want to use them as
Cannon fodder.
And the base commander's like, "I did jack, but I should get all the credit because prisoners shouldn't get any credit for anything."
Yeah.
I like what happens to him though.
That's a great way to just have everyone just revolt on you.
I like what happens to him in the plot though. So because he kept being like, "Oh yeah, look how great I am," OCN's like, "Oh really? You're that great?" So they pulled away his 2 ace pilots, put them into an actual brigade, and like, "Cool, we're sending you to the front lines," where he did not want to go.
And then you become the hero of the world.
And I think it's strongly implied that he dies.
Yeah, if he didn't die, stray missile by trigger probably got him from like 400 miles away.
Or by count.
I will say I do love that Ace Combat is one of these is one of these few games where you play as like the faceless moot, but like everything you do is actually sort of recognized in universe.
Yeah, like honestly, the moment when you're doing what they pretend is the final fight in the city, and you just hear the radio chatter of both enemies and allies reacting to your existence, and you just fucking shit up.
Farbanti is a great stage.
Like I love hearing them like, "Damn that 3 strikes," and then your own ground troops are like, "Oh god, I'm glad 3 strikes is here," and shit like that.
As I said, it's great to have one of these sort of games where you are the faceless and your accomplishments do feel like they actually mean something.
Yeah.
So
They actually are commenting on the fact that you exist. And even, down to, the fucking Char Master Asia guy is talking about you to his fucking daughters. Like, yeah, this one fucking guy, I can't seem to shoot him down.
Oh, I love Mihai.
Even his daughters know that you exist, because he just keeps, after he, goes back because he's wheezing and hacking out a lung, he's like, yeah, there's this one fighter pilot, I can't shoot him down, he just keeps flying out of reach of my rockets. Also, he hit me with a railgun a few times, I'm okay, though.
What if Char and... Mihai is what if Char and Big Boss were combined and also they weren't a colossal fuckwit?
Yeah.
Which is
so this special mission was really short. We're not even, we're barely, 30 minutes. What I think I'll do is I'll start the next mission and then bookmark it. But yeah, it is good. I love it a lot.
Combat 7 are good games, and Ace Combat 7 is a lot less frustrating than RE8. So how are you, Sabo?
Actually, honestly, that's one thing. What was it? So just real quick. So the mission. I remember when I was going into people oh yeah, that mission we got to do a trench run with the searchlights. Now I don't play a lot of Jet games. Now I'm gonna ask you how many times you think it took me to get through that segment, and then I'll tell you.
Oh no, twice, once.
Twice. I fucked up once where I caught the tail end of my jet, so I then just careened into a chasm because I was like, ah, fuck it, I failed. Then I did it a second time and I passed. It wasn't that bad, guys. It wasn't that bad.
Well, it's not bad, and
Like, at all.
I'm surprised people bitched about that because I remember
People bitched about the clouds, and I'm like, what?
Because the one I always remember being is I played Lair, which Lair has that exact same mission because it was made by Factor 5, who had that exact same mission in Rogue Squadron. Of course, the difference between Rogue Squadron and Lair is Rogue Squadron doesn't play like ass.
I was gonna say. I know at least Rogue Squadron's a decent game.
Imagine doing that but in Lair. So playing it in Ace Combat 7 where everything's buttery smooth is a godsend.
Yeah. Honestly, every time I've crashed, I'm just like, why did I do that?
That was dumb. Why did I fly directly into that building? So, fun fact, in Farbonti, I don't know if you know this, but you can shoot, the segment with the flooded part of the city where the ships are?
Yeah.
So you can shoot missiles that cause the buildings to tumble and crush those ships and crush those boats.
I did not know that.
Yeah, it's pretty neat.
I knew you could do that with the platforms or any of the ships that were underneath the platforms when you knock them down, get crushed.
Yeah, but it's more funny if you do it in Farbonti because obviously that segment usually requires a couple passes to get like a good angle. But yeah, it's Ace Combat 7 is just really, really good. It's one of those things where it's criminally everyone who played it loves it, but it's still criminally underrated.
Yeah, it doesn't really get as much talk as like a lot of games that came out. Well, I mean that year had a lot of good games, to be fair, but yeah.
Oh yeah, but I mean even amongst them, I feel like Ace Combat 7 just kind of stands.
Yeah, honestly, if I probably played it that year, it definitely would have made my top list of 2019. It's gonna be on this one, I can tell you that much. Because I played it this year, so I'm allowed.
I think it was number 2 on my list of that year, but that was only because that was the year DMC5 came out.
Yeah, DMC5 came out, so...
And, like, how the fuck could I put anything above DMC5? Like, really? I still can't think of a game I would put above DMC5.
Yeah, yeah, I remember that was, like, your big one, and, that was also on my last year one, because I played, like, that was another game that I played, like, a year later after it came out. This one I played 2 years later. Because this year there's not a whole lot of stuff I'm interested in. So I've been, like, going back and playing either games that I owned and didn't have, or just buying games that I didn't play that already came out.
Oh yeah, did you see that Power Ranger Chun-Li is being added to Battle for the Grid or whatever it's called?
I did hear about that. I haven't looked at it.
They released a trailer for it now.
Because I know Ryu got added, too.
Yeah. But who cares about Ryu?
Somebody.
Somebody does, because...
Does anyone even play Ryu anymore, like, high level anymore?
Yeah, no, he gets high level play.
Not at a high... I don't know about high level, I know he's everyone's favorite beginners, because you can just spam fireballs.
Well, yeah, because he's a show.
I mean, Daigo is, like, a well-known Ryu player in every version of the game. Oops, I banged my thing.
Daigo stopped. I don't remember. I haven't kept up with competitive Street Fighter 5 because I don't like the game.
Yeah, I still, one of my favorite things about Street Fighter 5 is that I remember I told somebody about how 5 is just a turtle fest and it's really unfun and it's nothing but footsies and it's just not a fun game and it's like very defensive driven where pretty much the winner is decided by who makes the mistake of attacking first. And I remember telling that to one friend of mine, and, like, she didn't really believe me. She thought I was exaggerating, which, I mean, I do, to be fair. I do exaggerate shit. So, and then she decided to watch one of the tournaments, like, this is, like, still early in Street Fighter V's careers, before even soccer was added. She watched it, and was like, oh my god, this is boring. Holy shit, he was right. My favorite mechanic in the game is literally that the game will tell you you're being, like, at the end of a match, that you were aggressive when you're defensive, and you were defensive when you're aggressive.
It's not even, like, the kind of fun kind of stupid bullshit where you get punished for one mistake, like Alpha 3 and is it Alpha 3 with Rose?
Yeah, Alpha 3 is Rose.
Where, basically, where Rose has that stupid where she has that stupid like thing with her grab.
Yeah, actually, the closest thing to that in 5 is Minat has a thing like that, where Minat, if you make a mistake, you just died. Minat's now going to kill you.
It's the kind of thing where at least when that happens, it's like quick, where Street Fighter 5 just kind of drags it all out.
Yeah. Because it's like so like Samurai Showdown is a defensive game, but it's also a very high damage game, so matches are pretty quick. Where Street Fighter 5 is not a high damage game, but it's super defensive.
If I say Samurai, I always think of Samurai Showdown as kind of like Onimusha. In the you get in it's super high damage, so it's punishing, but in the kind of right way.
Kind of. For what?
For in terms of being the thing where you basically die at 2 hits.
Onimusha is the samurai Resident Evil type game with the guy with the gauntlet that absorbs demon souls.
Isn't that Ninja 3?
Yes.
Man. Oh, it's like when that Ninja 3 was first revealed, and I was like, wait a second, this is just DMC4. Get the fuck out of here. I'm still looking forward to that Ninja Gaiden.
Oh yeah, I'm definitely getting that pack. I am looking forward to that like a motherfucker. I'm probably gonna get the PC version of it, and probably or maybe the Switch version.
Probably.
The Switch version would be for mobile, being able to play it at work, stuff like that.
Yeah, and it shouldn't have like any kind of slowdown issues, because I mean, the fucking like decade-old games.
Yeah.
Was Razor's Edge like Wii or Wii U?
Razor. So, yeah, it was so. Razor's Edge was Wii U, and then it later got re-released on the PS3 and 360. The original version was on 360 and PS3 and wasn't very good. Razor's Edge was the improved version of the game. Yeah. I don't have anything else to add. That's just yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think I never played 3, so I have nothing I can really say about that other than I heard it was pretty not great, and so I avoided it. And then it was unfortunately one of those things where it's re-released, it's like updated, re-released, didn't get any kind of fanfare.
No, so it just kind of happened. I saw it because I knew Razor's Edge was good, but I didn't have a Wii U at the time. I still have a Wii U. It just mainly collects dust. But now, I didn't really have it at that time, so it wasn't really doing me any good.
What else can it do when every like actually decent game it had has been built?
The only time I want to crack it open is like if I'm like, man, I want to play a Wii game in HD.
Basically, but it's like every sort of like killer app that the Wii U had. Well, what few ones it did have is
I think everything is on the thing now.
I don't think Wind Waker HD is on anything else.
Oh yeah, Wind Waker HD is not yet. That's the one.
And I don't think well, Smash 4's not as well, but why you would want to play Smash 4 anymore, I have no clue.
I don't know, probably somebody. I still have it. I should probably see if someone will buy it on eBay or something.
I think the worst part about watching anything Smash 4, if you watch anything like any like sort of Smash 4 matches in like in a post Smash Ultimate world, is it looks so fucking slow.
Well, yeah, it's definitely a slower game.
No, but I mean, like, even people getting launched off the map, just you're like, man, this is taking forever.
Yeah, it is a slower game than Ultimate.
You can read War and Peace in the time it takes someone to get launched off the side to the kill zone.
I mean, you would be able to say that about Melee if everyone wasn't using a bug.
Splatoon 1? Question mark?
I mean, Splatoon 2 is basically just Splatoon 1, but it doesn't have the Splatoon... It just doesn't have the same single-player campaign is all. That's really it.
It has a
better one. But how many people actually give a fuck about the single-player campaign?
I don't know. Not Nintendo, that's for sure, because it
No.
didn't make it any good. Yeah, the Octo expansion was alright.
Splatoon's okay. I call it the shooter when TF2 is too extreme for you.
It's the kind of thing where it's fine, but let's be honest, the main reason it's successful is because it's Nintendo.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's like there's a lot better like
because the shooting doesn't really feel good in the game, and one thing I don't like about the game is so the way you unlock weapons is by leveling up. So if you don't get the game day one, if you get it like a couple, like even like a month or two into its release, have fun. Have fun trying to survive.
Oh, I know what Wii U games aren't available on anything else. Star Fox Zero.
Yeah, and I think it never will be.
Probably not.
I don't know. They do like to release bad games though, because they do love their Ice Climber. So maybe.
You know what they should do? What every sort of company should do is they should look. Is that if you're gonna make like I don't know a Star Wars Starfighter game or the Star Fox game, you should just look at Ace Combat 7 and fucking steal all of that code. Like the Miyamoto, just do the Miyamoto way.
I mean, that's what he did. Literally, what he did for 64.
Yeah, it's like you should look at what everyone else is doing. And go, you made this, I made this, because
you know, actually, in a second thought, it's surprising how many don't just steal Ace Combat's ideas whenever they do make a flight game.
It's because I don't think people appreciate how good Project Aces are at making these games and making them.
Like,
you know,
I realized how good they were. What makes me, as someone who hasn't played every single game, to kind of like signal how good Ace Combat's controls always have been. I only really played the PS1 games, and then I jumped to 7 because that's just kind of what happened. So I played like Ace Combat 1 and 2, and then 7. I jumped into 7, haven't played like Ace Combat 1 or 2 in years, played it, and immediately I felt like I was back in the saddle. That's how well the game has always felt in terms of its controls.
I put it this way, right? So it's mostly because like Ace Combat's not as a huge game, and what a lot of companies do is they'll look at huge games and go, "Well, we can do that." So it's like, do you remember those years where everyone and everything basically had GTA 4 cars?
Yeah.
And
I hated it.
Yeah, and it's not because GTA 4 had amazingly had like great handling cars, because I mean it didn't. But it's more the fact that GTA 4 was a game that sold $1 billion, that's made like billions upon billions of dollars. So everyone was like, "Well, we'll just steal from there," rather than like steal from games with good driving physics.
Also Red Dead Redemption has really terrible horse controls.
Yeah, but how many games have horses these days?
A couple, but
Red Dead Redemption.
Like Red Dead Redemption and like
2.
Red Dead Redemption and like Dynasty Warriors games.
And allegedly, what's it called?
Zelda.
I was gonna say that game that From Software is allegedly making with George R.R. Martin.
Allegedly.
I don't remember what it's called. Elden Ring or something?
I don't know. Dark Souls, but a different flavor.
Just make Bloodborne 2, you cowards.
No,
well, that's another thing.
I'm not gonna do it.
RE8 does steal quite heavily from Bloodborne, but I'm like, but it's not even the good stuff from Bloodborne. Or it's fine. Like, one of the bosses is basically just like German cross Father Gascoigne. But, not quite as cool.
Shame, Bloodborne's the only one of those in that formula that I actually kind of like. And it wasn't like, say, like a top, but like, it's one of those things where it's like, yeah, I could see a sequel being like, a game that I really, really like. And then every game that like, that they make is just more of the Souls formula, and I just don't care for it. And then so many other things try to copy the Souls formula, and I'm like, why are you doing this? Why does this sell? This isn't even fun.
It's kind of funny how Bloodborne is also the best, like, HP Lovecraft game ever made.
Yeah.
Take that, all of you people who really like Dark Corners of the Earth.
Who?
All 3 of you. It's that jank Xbox game.
Who?
Call of Cthulhu.
Who?
I mean, we've all seen...
I've seen footage of it, and I'm like, this looks like... I remember I looked at it, and I'm like, this looks like shit, and walked away.
I mean, it's not a great-looking game, but it's an interesting
Don't forget, there's 2 different Call of Cthulhu's, because there was another one later, too.
Oh yeah, there's the new one, that's why I said Dark Corners of the Earth.
Yeah, they both are just like.
The real problem with the original is it's fucking the most buggy shit. You'd think it's so buggy. You think Bethesda had like developed it.
Todd Howard's in the room. Yeah.
Like it's buggy to the point of being unplayable is the problem.
Todd Howard's sitting there like, I love this.
And then the new one's big problem is it's just like a really boring game, and also it stole from Godzilla, and I'll never forgive it for that. Fuck you, Cthulhu.
You know, I saw on HBO Max yesterday when I was looking at stuff that they have the Jet Jaguar movie on there, and I started laughing.
Oh, versus Megalon.
Yes.
I'm surprised they have the distribution rights to that. Because the distribution rights, I'm pretty for a lot of these movies must be all over the place. Because I think I've mentioned before, I'm pretty sure Universal has to have like a stranglehold on King Kong versus Godzilla's distribution rights.
Yeah.
Because otherwise I can't work out why the only version of it you can get is the dubbed American version. There's no like new transfers, even though all the other movies of that era got a new transfer. And I can only assume it's because Universal will not allow anything that's not their version to be released.
Quite honestly, probably.
Oh shit! All right, did you see that thing where Harmony Gold has not relinquished the rights, but is now like allowing bring Macross over?
Yeah, and at the same time, they're also doing like weird NFT shit.
And I'm like, just give up Mazinger, you cunts. Relinquish the Mazinger.
Well, they were like, we'll do other Macross, but the original series is still locked up tight.
And you know what? That's fine. Keep it.
Yeah, they don't like. I don't think anybody likes the original series.
Not anymore. Like all the people that did are like too old to remember or care. Now everyone else is like, now that all the turbo weebs are like, cool, I'm across finally.
They're too busy going, what the fuck is this Delta shit?
I remember someone asked them like, during the interviews, like, so does that mean they can start putting Macross back in Super Robot Wars, which are going to get a international release? And he just like, I mean, yeah, all options are on the table. You could just see him like, what the hell is Super Robot Wars?
The hell is that?
He's like, yeah, I guess all options are on the table.
Yeah, sure.
What the hell are you talking about?
Talk about it.
I mean, I don't think we'll ever see Super Robot Wars get a official English release.
Well, I mean, note that ever since they started doing the Southeast Asia, workaround, they haven't used Macross, which was a staple for like almost 10 years of like nothing but Frontier. And then all of a sudden they dropped it like a hot potato, and they're like, oh, I wonder why. Well, it might have to do with the fact that they're trying to get it released overseas now, subtly.
I mean, it'll be neat if we do get Macross. Might be able to convince one of my friends to import it, because he almost did it for Cowboy Bebop, but
not quite.
No, I couldn't get it. I couldn't convince him, probably because of a lot of the other stuff. Although he did like Gunbuster.
I mean, I was pretty easily convinced on this one. It was just chock full with my bullshit.
Well, we'll see soon enough, because the next
hi, Yarzan.
Is apparently going to be Terrada's best work ever.
You didn't say that last time.
No, yeah.
Oh, hi, Wolfgang.
That game hasn't come out yet. He's like, the next game is going to be super amazing and like the best work of his career.
Hmm.
And I'm like, well, I mean, the last time they said that the game coming out was going to be super amazing, we got Z1, which was super amazing. So maybe they've learned.
Maybe
they've taken a few years to actually put some effort into it.
We shall see. Other than that, it's been sadly quiet on the mecha front because nobody's watching Dynazenon. Not even me.
Apparently, it's not good.
Yeah, I did hear that.
I've heard that about the Pacific Rim show too.
What, the Black?
Yeah,
I've
heard that wasn't that great.
I mean, it's fine.
I heard like it has the same problems as the second movie, so I'm like, oh.
I don't see how it has anywhere near those problems.
That's what I was at least told.
Like, I'm legit confused. It's like because they're kids piloting it. Well, it's a lot better in Black because they're like kids in post-apocalyptic Australia, which is basically just Australia. Yeah. But yeah, it's not like kids are having to like fight the war on the front lines. It's kids who are abandoned and they're having to make like struggle and survive. And it's like it's fine.
Oh
It's not
no,
what I want.
the last time we heard that was Iron Blooded Orphans.
Some people like that show. I think
I know some people like that show, but it didn't end well.
some people like Seed Destiny.
Yes, but even people that like Seed Destiny don't think it was very good.
Oh,
They just like
I
certain
was
parts
waiting
of
for you
it.
to tell me no. No, they don't.
Yeah, there are people that like Seed Destiny, but there's nobody I know that actually thinks Seed Destiny had a good show. They're just like, yeah, it sucked, but I liked watching Kira kill people. Well, not kill people, because he's
Fake
Kira. But I mean,
people.
I liked watching Kira disable people. I was like, well, okay.
I don't kill
no.
people. Mobile suit violently explodes. It's okay. I saw their parachutes.
That's fine. It was just the cargo mobile suit.
No, he just kind of shoots off their arms, and then they all just kind of leave.
Oh, I just don't want to hear the "you've been disarmed" joke again.
Except that one guy who kept trying to keep fighting and got killed, but technically that wasn't Kira's fault.
Technically correct. The best kind of correct. But yeah, man, we need more mecha
Yeah,
stuff.
the only thing the only other thing we've been is like just a constant teasing about get a Robo arc.
Oh yeah.
It should come. It's due out in like what 2 months or something.
Yeah, I think something like that. It's gonna be cool seeing people see the Getter the version of the Getter that has like the weird predator face.
And I mean, once Arc is done, then I think the next thing up is actually Cold Steel's anime in like 2022. That we know of, at least.
Yeah.
I'm surprised they've not tried to push another Gundam out.
They're working on their movies and.
Oh yeah, they're working on Hathaway's Flash, which just got delayed again.
I thought Hathaway's Flash just came out.
No, it got delayed.
Oh, that's weird because it was like supposed to come out a couple days ago.
Yeah, it got delayed.
They got delayed the day of it released. They're just like, sorry.
It got delayed a couple weeks ago.
Oh, okay. Because someone was just like, hey, it's coming out in 2 days, and I was like, oh, really?
Yeah, because I heard a couple weeks ago it got delayed.
May 21, it comes out apparently.
Oh, okay. Man, I'm just gonna put it aside here because I see Angela now that she's in her regular form. I just want to point this out because for the audience, they're gonna put her back in the other form. I can't believe they didn't have the balls to put her in this definitely hotter form.
I mean, it's such a weird just thing in the movie that this is from that they do that with, where it's like, yeah, she's a full-grown woman, but then she has to get to the planet like 3 hours or something faster than other people, so she comes out in a body that is technically 16.
Yeah.
I don't get it. I mean, okay, I get it, but I don't get it.
I mean, you know why? You know why they're doing it.
I know why.
You just don't think it's.
I just think it's like such a weird distinction to do. It's like, well, we're gonna have her be like 28 or whatever she is, but then also she's 16,
Ugh.
but also like 3 days old.
Ugh.
I'm like, well, now you've just made anything anybody does really weird and confusing. I mean, I guess technically you can argue it's still fine because it's mental age and all, but like.
Yeah.
Why?
But also, also why? I mean, look at this. She's so much hotter.
I mean, also she's a cop, and when a cop's not killing you, cops, that's cool. Except when they're bad cops, and then that's bad.
Glad to see you covered all your bases there.
Yes, it's good when it's good, and it's bad when it's bad. Now no one can be offended, or everyone can be. I don't know.
Probably
also,
everyone.
I like that
everyone.
obviously I'm looking at like the stuff for Hathaway's Flash. It just says music by Hiroyuki Sawano, and I'm like, why does everyone even bother crediting him at this point? He's just doing everything. It's like Hans Zimmer. It's like if it says music by Hans Zimmer, it's like, well, who no fucking shit? Who else are you gonna get?
Also, I can't even pretend like I give a shit or feel anything about Hathaway's Flash. I just don't like Hathaway, and I know Hathaway's Flash's story. I don't really care for it.
Well, it's because at the end of the day, the only thing that matters is that Hathaway dies, and it's like he's not even the most hateable person from that era of Gundam. Like,
Yeah, unfortunately, she's already dead. She explodes pretty
He's-
quickly.
He's no Kurtz.
That's true.
Which one's
Kurtz
Katz
already
again?
died. Kurtz is the fucking idiot who basically stops the Aegug from joining up with Neo Zeon to beat up on Shirako, and therefore is directly responsible for the death of everyone.
Oh, yeah.
And then he just kind of dies, and does he even get killed by? Oh right, he gets hit by Yazan, and then he flies into a meteor and he dies.
Yeah, he gets like minor damage, and then he's just like, what's going on? And he crashes into a meteor.
Remember, everyone dies in Zeta, but Yazan gets to live.
Yorzan lives. Even when he shows up in Double Zeta, he lives. Which is something they also make a point about in every fucking Super Robot Wars, the fact that he's still alive. It's like, how are you still alive? Why do you get to live?
Because he's not one of those stupid new types.
Though he really likes fighting and killing.
Yeah, but...
He just loves being a dick.
You know what? That's the point. He likes fighting and killing, so that when like push comes to shove, there's no point where he's like, "Oh no, I'm really sad about this. I need to," and that means I die. So he doesn't go an-hero ever.
So he's always just like, oh boy, I love killing. Why do you like killing? It's fun.
So I guess, Simi, speaking of that, did either of you see the trailer for the new Venom movie?
No.
I did, actually.
Where I'm like, I mean,
I know Carnage is in
seems-
it.
it seems fine. Yeah, what's worse about that is it's Carnage with a PG-13 rating. So, what's even the fucking point, guys? You know what the worst part is? Is it's not even going to be like the best version of PG Carnage, which is animated series Carnage, because I don't know if you remember what he did in that, in lieu of, murdering a lot of people.
What did he do? I don't remember.
He stole people's souls and put them in the soul jar for Dormammu.
That's pretty good.
And it's like, and see, that's the level of so stupidly ridiculous, like, censorship that it's funny. But they're not going to do that. They're just going to have really bloodless carnage, pun intended.
You know, it's...
Like,
Oh, go ahead, sorry.
well, it's like, Carnage is that thing where the only reason you have Carnage is so he murders a lot of people and basically acts like Spider-Man's Joker.
It's basically just so you can have so you can also have like the Venom plots, but you want to have Venom be an anti-hero.
No, but I mean, like,
Because that's why he was created.
Well, yeah, but then the thing they did to distinguish him was they made him the Joker.
They made him thrice as crazy, basically.
But actually, with superpowers, so it's more of a competent threat as opposed to the Joker, where you're like, yeah, any of you guys could probably kill this fucker.
Because I was talking about how because I was making because I've been quipping about how Harley is nowadays and stuff. Because yeah, because well, Harley right now is going through the Venom phase, where because of her popularity, she's become an anti-hero character. And I've been joking about that, and because they also have their own Carnage named Punchline, because they still want to do the Harley stuff, before they made her an anti-hero. So they made a character called Punchline.
Oh, is that what she's for? I thought she was just one of those random characters that DC vomits out every now and then, just for...
No, she was there to replace Harley as Joker's sidekick, so Harley could be an anti-hero.
Yes.
So she's just basically exactly the same as Harley.
No, she's like really serious and, not at all.
So basically all the renditions of Harley between her becoming an anti-hero and her being in the cartoon.
Basically.
Because that was what they did with Harley. But anyway, continue.
But that's pretty much it. It's just that I've been making jokes about that, and because it took someone a minute to get, and they're like, "Oh, I didn't realize how meta you were being with the dig." When I was like, "Yeah, no, they were both characters just created for that." Mind you, I like Carnage. I think Carnage is a fun psychopath. I enjoy him. Where Punchline is just pointless, stupid.
I I mean, as I said, I think the movie itself will be fine on the basis that Venom was a bad movie, but an enjoyable movie. Well, okay, in as much as I can find enjoyment out of an entire sequence where Tom Hardy jumps in the lobster tank because his balls are too hot,
Turd in the wind.
which I described to someone, and they said that's not true. You're being facetious, and it's like, I'm not. That's literally what happened. As I said, Venom was a bad movie, but it was enjoyable.
Right.
I kind of think Venom 2 will be the same thing. But I still think Bloodless Carnage is a dumb idea. And especially because, like, Woody Harrelson's a good actor, but he's not even, like, doing the best version of being a fucking crazy Cletus Cassidy. Like, goddamn, 90s animated series Carnage is fucking hilarious.
I need to watch a clip of 90s Carnage again. I gotta. I haven't seen it in so long.
I love how he even has, like, I love that he's, like, the sequence where he names himself Carnage is even still better than every other time they've ever tried to shoehorn, like, how he calls himself Carnage or gets called Carnage. It's like, why is this show that all this fucking censorship still doing shit that years later we're not topping? That's not meant to be, like, you know, a compliment. It's not like, say, you know, well, we've never had a Batman cartoon as good as BTAS. It's like, Spider-Man the Animated Series is not like a high benchmark to beat.
No.
I love that show, but it's nowhere near what it could have been. I mean, granted, I would say Spectacular Spider-Man is far and away the best Spider-Man cartoon.
Whoops.
But it ended. Hello?
I mean, what do you mean?
Yes.
What do you mean? I mean, like, come on. But it doesn't have, Get back here, Shocker!
Oh, okay.
That's true. It doesn't.
No, but it does have Steve Blum as the Green Goblin.
True.
Who is my favourite Green Goblin, and second favourite is Neil Ross, which is 90s Goblin. I do actually legit wonder, after I rewatched all of the 90s show, did they hire, like, Harry and Norman Osborn's VAs based off of how well they could do Goblin voices?
Maybe.
Because it's actually really impressive how both of those actors do, like, similar but very distinct Goblin voices when they're both Goblin.
Ah. Oh my god, I'm sorry, I'm just laughing right now because so it's the part of the diva bit where literally Ein breaks out fucking Angela out, and just seeing this dog in heaven is just really funny to me.
But Dan, all dogs go to heaven.
It's
Except
true.
that one dog in the movie who didn't go to heaven.
Also, I do enjoy that Angela's, like, prison avatar thing is literally just like one of those fucking lobby avatars from insert Arc Systems game here.
Yes.
What stage are you on?
It's the one where Angela gets the new Authorin.
I can't remember. It's somewhere in, like, I think he's in the 30s still.
It's like 20 something. Well, I mean, we're gonna bookmark it in a second.
So it's after Tyrannado Rex.
Yeah, because I got the Tornado Rex. I did the secret mission, which was really short, so that's why we're gonna bookmark this one. Or we might go long, actually. Because this doesn't seem like a long one. Because all I gotta do after Angela pops out of the wormhole is just kill.
27.
Okay.
27, yeah.
Only 27? You've been playing this for months.
Yeah.
I mean,
It's a long-ass game.
it's a map a week, basically.
It's a long-ass game, Saber.
And the maps are long.
I think there are, luckily, going to be some shorter maps coming up.
Yeah, this one's I think it's a shorter one, so I'm actually probably going to run this through. It'll go a little over an hour, but worst case, I'll just split the recording into two.
But yeah, I actually do think Expelled from Paradise was a pretty fun movie. It's very much not a mecha movie.
Right.
I'm not entirely sure why it's in this game, but it's definitely a fun, enjoyable, like, one and done, doesn't need to be anything more than what it is kind of thing.
Yeah.
Oh, I guess one thing in the news we haven't talked about is the Joss Whedon thing.
Oh, what happened now?
Oh, did you not hear? Gal Gadot came out and said that he threatened her career on the set of Justice League or something.
No.
I mean, I've not really looked like too much into the story, but like that's what I heard.
You know, I have not heard about this.
Well, okay then. I'm
Uh,
assuming by Sabo not chiming in, he hasn't either.
No, but what I've heard, well, I did heard of, but what I've heard of also is that now she's getting in trouble for some comment she made this morning about the Israel situation.
Oh, we're not talking about that.
yeah, we're not talking about
We
that.
agreed beforehand that we can't talk about it because no matter what you say, it just leads to problems. It's best to in this case just to look away. Like fucking talking about the Chinese death camp is probably much safer to talk about than that situation.
Probably.
Wait, which one? The one near Mulan footage?
Yeah, the one with the Milan footage it's been mentioned because they're curbing breeding now, or something.
Oh,
which is,
good!
oof.
I think everyone was talking about just dumb robot stuff.
Let's cycle right back to this.
Let's cycle right back to joking about Angela and her form, and me going, "Why didn't they let her keep the other one? It was so much hotter." I like that talk better. About how they were cowardly and put her back in the child body.
Yeah, but
Cowards.
yeah, Spell from Paradise is a fun movie. Do recommend.
I gotta check it out at some point, to be honest. It's on my list of things that I want to see.
Has a really good dub as well.
I mean, most dubs these days are pretty good.
Yeah, but sometimes there are, like, I've explained this before, and that sometimes there are dubs that are just so good that you just don't even bother, that there's not much point, like, watching the original, and then there's sometimes where the original just has, like, a spark, it has, like, one thing in it, where, like, you can't substitute that for anything. Like, it's like...
Yeah, I kind of feel that about, like, honestly, like, JoJo, because, like, I love, like, old man Joseph just screaming his shit and just some of the...
Well, I've said this about, like, JoJo's Part 1 and 3, but
Yeah.
Part 4, I'm like, yeah, but Part 4's got DC Douglas.
Part 4, though, is the English, though, is really good in that one.
Yeah, I mean, it's very good, but it's more, I'm sold on it by DC Douglas alone, because he plays Kira so well, and I don't have, like, special attachment to Kira's Japanese VA, whereas, I mean, like, it's fucking Japanese Dio, like, I feel bad for the person who had to, like, I feel bad for whoever dubbed Dio, because it's like...
I mean, he did a decent job, but he's following that.
You ain't gonna top that, man.
Yeah.
It's like, I feel bad for you, like, good on you for getting a paycheck, but...
Like, I do appreciate him hamming it up, because he does ham it up pretty good.
Oh, I've heard him. He does, but like, it's not Dio. It's not Japanese Dio.
It's just not quite as good.
Not the same.
It's good. It's just not as.
At least they didn't take the hammy character and give him a fucking Australian accent.
Yeah, I
It's
get.
a joke I will get. There's a character in Yu-Gi-Oh! 5Ds who's really fucking memeable, and the dub of that, which I never watched precisely because of how badly that screwed up that character. It's just gave him an Australian accent and made him the dumbest shit ever. But I guess actually speaking of dumb shit,
You know, it's my knowledge of 5D is like limited. I know more than I want to know about GX because I have one friend who really likes GX.
Poor bastard.
She's really likes GX.
GX is fine. GX just has the problem of it has a really big, really fun, colourful cast of characters, but it doesn't matter because Jaden.
See, I don't really have much commentary on it because I remember when it started airing, I watched a couple of episodes and then I just fell off of it immediately.
Like
The only thing I really cared about was Chaz memes.
GX is weird because it gets like it's very kind of up and down. Like there are some points where it's like, oh man, this is actually good, and then there's a lot of points where it's just like really boring, pointless filler stuff. It's like, oh no, now we've got to duel against the guy who plays ramen stuff, and I'm like, okay, were we just talking? Well, who happened to that old guy who wanted to destroy the world?
Yeah, don't worry about it.
It's kind of interesting we talk about GX like immediately after JoJo though, because it has that connection.
Yeah. Anyway, you're going to mention the Sabo or something about 5Ds. Sorry.
I was about 5Ds. I was gonna say to Saber. So I know you like Sentai. How do you feel about the new Zenkaiju?
The oh, you mean the 6th member?
Yeah.
Haven't actually looked too much into that yet.
Oh, that's gonna be interesting when you look up two Kaiser.
I'm gonna do this right now.
So in fact, you'll notice. I think you'll be able to guess what series he's referencing as soon as you see him. I mean, I'm not usually big on Sentai, but I took an interest in Zenkaiju.
Okay, so he's just Gokaiger.
He's basically just Gokaiger but gold.
Okay.
And also his gimmick is he dances.
Oh, I've seen that! Because, my one friend was getting another friend of mine into it because of that scene with him singing about how he's a good pirate, all that stuff. And they're just like, oh my god, this guy is so hot, I kind of want to see this.
I mean, and it's yet another guy. So they have 2 pretty boys and a bunch of people in suits. I guess
and I had to look at my friend and just tell him, like, listen, I'm gonna be real with you, like, if most of the characters in Sentai shows are hot.
It's basically Deno, but without the trains.
Yeah, but it's two pretty boys and a bunch of people in suits. So they've completely given up. They've completely given up on the.
No, there's 3 pretty boys because there's an evil Sentai guy.
Oh, that's right. Of course there is. So this is basically just Kamen Rider.
Yes.
Why are they even bothering?
Because. Shut up. Because actually, there's a reason. It's because Sentai can be sold overseas still. Although I have no idea how the hell they'd adapt this.
Yeah, I don't know how they're going to. They're not going to be able to adapt this because
it's going to go the way of Takuja.
Power Rangers' whole thing is like the whole multi-racial team thing. They're not going to be able to do that when it's just one guy and a bunch of people in the suits.
They're robots. Robots can be races, I think.
But I'm pretty sure any actually well-known VAs don't actually work on the show anymore.
What, Sentai or Power Rangers?
Power Rangers.
Oh, I mean, probably not.
Because, you know, it's shot in... Is it still shot in New Zealand?
I don't think so. I think that stopped after Disney sold it. I actually don't know, because I think Hasbro owns Power Rangers these days.
Hasbro does. Because Hasbro makes the toy line.
Yeah, so I have no idea, like, where it's shot. I know Saban took it over for a time, for the dark time.
Yeah, Saban rebought it, and then he was like, no. Yeah, he bought it because Disney was like... Disney wanted to just do reruns. They're like, we don't even want to make any more new shows. We'll just do reruns. We've got like 20 years worth of it.
Is it Bandai or Takara who do the Sentai toys?
It's Bandai.
Bandai.
Yeah. Because Bandai will then like, no, but your contract says you must.
Yeah, but Bandai's like, you're contractually obligated to release our newest stuff in your country. And if you're not going to advertise the newest stuff, then what's the point?
Disney, like, this is a lot more investment than we wanted.
Pretty much. I think they got it as like there was something else they wanted that they had to buy as an joint thing.
Yeah, it was like one of those things where Spawn kind of
like when they bought Fox and just got a bunch of shit that they didn't want.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Fox actually had a lot of stuff that they did want.
Their main goal was getting the fucking the Marvel rights that they wanted. Everything else was just icing.
I'm pretty sure their main goal was to get hold of the Avatar sequels that are still definitely happening, guys.
Yeah, that too.
Listen, I don't think they were happening even before they got bought.
It's like when 4Kids ended up getting One Piece in a joint deal with Shaman King, which is all they wanted. And then they were like pressured into releasing One Piece, and we all saw how that went.
Pretty not great.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna be king of the pirates!
So bad that they like made them sell it back.
Give it back, please.
It's so bad that I think that I'm pretty. Does the dub of One Piece even still exist? Like,
there is a Funimation dub. I think they still produce stuff.
Okay, well, I wasn't sure if it was still like being dubbed though.
The Funimation dub only comes out with like a block of episodes every year or so.
Yeah. Which I can't really
It's-
blame them considering how many and
It's
everything.
more about the simulcast subs, which is
Yeah.
really
Also, because it's like there's so many people in One Piece that there's just probably not even enough VAs in America.
Because like every other week he just makes a new character for it, and you're just like, oh my god, can you end this please? No.
It's like Detective Conan, which has basically gotten every single actor in this entire country of Japan, sometimes more than once.
Yeah, but I mean,
because there's so many characters in it.
I didn't realize how many characters are in the series at this point until like one day I was just like seeing clips of it, and I was just like, who are these people?
who are all of you?
Like, there's this one chick who her whole gag is, haha, she looks like a boy, and I'm like, yeah, I know the show came out in the 90s, but this episode isn't from the 90s, this joke is old hat.
Wait, is that Conan or One Piece?
Conan!
Okay, I wasn't sure because when you said girl,
There's this one tomboy girl.
I was gonna say because if you're saying that there's like a big gender ambiguous character from One Piece, I was like, no, like, if they are, I don't know who the fuck they could be. It's pretty obvious whoever whatever.
Yeah, I was, yeah, Ono only knows how to draw like, weird, like, bulimic hourglass shapes now. That's all he can draw for them now. They all have the same body type, it's so fucking stupid.
You know what, though? At least he could draw more than 3 hairstyles, like Toriyama.
No, because literally I made jokes about how Time Skip Nami's hair looks like Nico Robbins, but orange.
But yeah, I don't know, I could never get into Detective Conan. I think it's because it's just basically, like, Case of the Week stuff.
I enjoy it, but yeah, it's definitely Case of the Week. And it's like a running joke, like, oh, he's definitely gonna get that organization one of these days, right? Yeah, definitely gonna get that organization.
How much time has actually passed in universe?
I don't think they addressed that.
They don't.
I know in reality Detective Conan's like been going on for like 30
They do not address it.
I think they said it's been going on for so long that most of the random cases he solves just did not actually happen. Because it's been going on for 30 years, and in the universe it's still only been a couple months. So yeah, they're like,
how is it still so popular?
I don't know.
Like, it doesn't even have a guy get hit by a truck and get teleported to a magical world.
It's popular with kids.
No, I'm surprised
Yeah,
kids have the attention.
because I haven't put it together yet, but I got an entry grade model kit that is just of Conan, and it's literally made for kids. Like it's literally like on the box, it's like, hey kids and stuff like that.
It's one of those things where it's like a kid/family show in Japan, but like it was like it's not mature enough for the U.S. anime audience, but it's also too mature for like to actually put on kids blocks because there's like a murder
Actual blood and murder.
Yeah, someone's like there's like a murder every week, so they're like, yeah, I think.
One that I used to make fun, like I used to think it was funny how because I liked it. I do like Conan, but I always thought it was funny back when they were airing it on Adult Swim. They would air it right after fucking Aqua Teen Hunger Force of all fucking things.
Yeah.
So you have this like this like honestly pretty smart sometimes like murder mystery in terms of how like they kill it and everything, and how you have to try and put the pieces together before Conan does, because I try and I usually don't. But they have that right after the longest running shit post on American television.
Makes sense.
Like two very different audiences in most cases. Of course, I watched both because I'm crazy, but that's just me.
But I mean, yeah.
But getting invested in Conan, anything other than Mystery of the Week, yeah, nah, dog.
So at least One Piece is theoretically still building to something.
I don't believe it. I don't believe it for a second.
I'm fully in the camp that Oda will
He doesn't kill any character. They just keep going. Ooh, he killed Ace. How long ago was that? 10 years?
Yeah, something like that.
Ooh, he killed one.
Actually, he might have killed one in this most recent arc. I don't remember.
I won't believe it until the show ends and he's still in a coffin.
Until the arc's over, I don't know if Pico Peko, whatever, is actually dead, but he might be.
I don't believe it.
He's not come back yet. And Luffy's having his big 1v1 against the villain of this arc.
By the way, I do really like this animation for Angela's big attack, where she just goes fucking insane and then just shoots them into space on a giant railgun.
Yeah, it is basically exactly what happens in the movie as well.
It is a really cool like attack animation though. I actually do like the new Atherin's design. I can't explain it. Why I like it, I just kind of like it.
It's not bad. It kind of reminds me of that main mech from the Lost Planet games. The one
Kinda.
that got into Tatsunoko v Capcom.
Yeah, actually, kinda. You're right.
I can't remember what it was called.
I know what you're talking about though.
And I really wish Lost Planet had been a good series.
A lot of people did, including Capcom.
But like the first game was just so kind of unpolished. And then the second game just leaned too hard into multiplayer.
That was as was the style at the time.
Well, the multiplayer was even good in Lost Planet 2. The problem is it just shouldn't have been a squad shoot. It just shouldn't have been a squad shooter for a single player.
As was the style at the time.
And then the third game just they handed it off to. They did the usual Capcom thing, handed it off to developers who had nothing really to do with anything beforehand, and they just kind of made their incredibly Western version of it. And it's like, you don't buy Japanese games to get the Western version of what the Japanese think the West. That's the thing, is it then becomes like the Western version of what the Japanese think the West is. And I would rather just have the Japanese version of the West.
Right.
It's just kind of fine. Well, then it's just kind of, silly, over-the-top, stupid bullshit, but that's how you get things like Devil May Cry or Resident Evil.
I mean, what was it? It just reminded me of, like, because I thought about it again. Because we were talking, because I do have confirmation in something that I've long thought, is, you know how, like, people here will have the thing about, like, the subs versus dubs, where they'll be like, oh, the subs are better because it has the true essence, or, shit like that. Yeah, they do that in Japan. I do know that because apparently a guy in Japan got to hear that from two Japanese people talking about King of the Hill with subs versus dubs. And it's literally the same shit that we say, except for King of the Hill.
I mean, I kind of knew that anyway because of Ruby, but yeah.
But,
there's similar things with the Ruby fanbase over in Japan. Although I'm pretty sure the Japanese fanbase of Ruby don't like Ruby.
Yeah, they kind of lost interest after they left the school.
Yeah, basically when it stopped being
high school,
like when it stopped being like one of their Japanese animes, they stopped caring.
That sounds about right.
And then everyone
when it stopped being cute girls having cool fight scenes and more about like political intrigue and like General Iron would spiral into insanity, and they were just like, we don't care about any of this. When's Yang gonna punch someone again?
Put Neapolitan.
To be fair, I agree with that. When are we just gonna get back to fighting?
Probably never. I think they just don't care anymore. I think they're at the point where they were like, we have such a big fan base who will defend us no matter what we do that we just don't care anymore.
Wait, where's our money?
Well,
that being said, now they're suddenly broke because they couldn't have their convention this year and because Genlock nearly bankrupted them. But
guys, we shouldn't talk about that because that's actually is a reason for people not to do more mecha stuff. No, Genlock was a colossal financial success.
No, we've already in recording said that it wasn't before this episode.
Yeah.
I think literally last episode we made fun of Genlock.
The problem with Genlock is they just did it all wrong, and they were like too focused on the fact that.
Yeah, because we were talking about how like the whole mech thing. You broke it down, in fact, Train.
That was Past Train. That's a different guy. He's full of shit. You don't listen to Past Train.
The greatest enemy ever created, Past Train.
Hey, look. There's a long-running feud between Past Train, Future Train, and Present Train. Because Past Train, he says lots of crazy things. I don't know what he guy's doing. And then Present Train, he's forever causing problems for Future Train to solve. But precisely because and then Future Train always has to deal with Present and Past Train's bullshit. It's a long-running struggle. It's the well, not the duality of man, but the triality of man? The tripredicus of man, sure.
I don't know.
But anyway, yeah, no, we should say Genlock was a huge financial success. It just was critically unsuccessful. Yeah, I got nothing. Genlock made no money. But I swear Mecha can make money.
It can if you make it good.
If you don't bankrupt yourself to make it on the basis that your fan base that really likes cute anime girls will go over to this show that is not about cute anime girls.
Yeah, their biggest mistake was not making a cool robot and not making a bunch of cute anime girls. Those were their mistakes.
They were just like, oh, Michael B. Jordan will sell this. He's popular, right?
That's the problem, is they basically, as I said last time, they tried to market to the complete wrong crowds. And I think they just assumed that they would tap into the same kind of mega success that Ruby did, not appreciating Ruby's very specific kinds of people who like it.
Yeah.
And if you like Ruby, good for you.
I mean, literally, I keep saying like, I only liked Ruby just because there was the novelty of it being an online show, and I did genuinely enjoy the fight scenes and some of the character designs I thought were neat. Well, mainly I liked Ruby and Yang's designs. I thought the other two were kind of bland, but that's just me.
What were you gonna say, Sabo?
I was gonna say we should get into this stuff because we apparently know how to get into the anime fan mindset.
It's because it's not complicated to know what anime fans like.
Apparently it is.
No.
Well,
First you need cute girl, and then other cute girl, and you pick different flavors of cute girl.
And then you just don't have them get raped.
Yes, just different
Unless
flavors
you're
of cute
going for
girl. That's all you really need.
Unless you're going for that very specific audience, in which case we'll...
Well, that's how you get
As a
Sword
whole.
Art fan base.
In which case you're going for the cross-Ange audience.
Or Sword Art.
No, to do that you need 50 cops.
Yeah.
No, Cross Ange is 50 cops.
Yeah, Cross-Edge is 50 cops, alright. Well, I've said before...
Sword Art, you need a lot of sexual assault, though.
I know nothing about Sword Art other than the fact that it is the show that everyone hates and yet is inexplicably popular.
Yeah, I don't get it either. I do remember the closest I've met to a fan was I made fun of it once, where I made the joke saying, "Man, I don't really care for this remake of Dot Hack," and they got really fucking mad at me to the point where they were trying to be like, "No, it came out before Dot Hack," and I had to show them fucking publication
It
dates.
absolutely did not come out.
No, it did not. It did not! I literally had to pull up publication dates.
For a fact it did not, because I played Dot Hack when I was still in high school.
Exactly, that's how I knew.
Online didn't come out until I was well past all that.
Mind you, this was like a couple of years. This was like a good several years ago, because this was early in the Sword Art's existence. And I was just like, dude, what the fuck are you talking about? Sword Art's not that old. Dot Hack's old as shit.
So, hey, Dad, you like Summer Wars, right?
It's been a long time, but yeah.
You see, the other guy who did Summer Wars is making another movie, and it looks exactly like Summer Wars. And the main reason I bring this up...
It's like the Madoka guy who can't make anything other than Madoka.
No, it's not even that. It's more the fact that Summer Wars itself looks suspiciously, and I mean fucking suspiciously, a lot like the last movie that guy did. And you might be wondering, what was the last movie that guy did before Summer Wars? It's the Digimon movie.
Oh, I know.
Specifically the Dioboromon one. And it's like, hey look, this is exactly the same as Summer Wars. It's exactly the same.
Corporate wants you to.
Now we're doing it a third time. Although I guess I'll need to have someone go. I guess I'll need to have Medi go over, or I assume it's Medi, or is it Carl, who said that I think it's Gaim is the same as Madoka.
Medi.
Because I mean, I've had people explain some of the similarities, explain it, who are more in know more about Madoka than I do, because I don't think I've ever watched it. I keep it needing to, and I've nothing against it. I just haven't found time.
Makes sense.
But the things that people have told me about Madoka, I'm like, yeah, it's similar, but not like as similar as say other things are to other things. I'd honestly argue that Kamen Rider Drive is closer to the Flash, the 2014 show, but doesn't end but it doesn't lead to massive disappointment.
Right.
Drive was a good show. Drive had great designs too. But anyway, yeah, Rooster Teeth sucks.
ripping Rooster Teeth. But yeah, it is definitely like we were saying. They completely misunderstood their fan base. They don't understand what people like about it. So that happens a lot with things that are become surprise successes with companies. They don't really understand what it was that people liked about the thing, and take all the wrong lessons from it.
Well, it's sort of that, but a lot of it is also that, oh, well, what we'll do is, now that we've made a name for ourselves, we'll try to appeal to a mass audience. And the problem with appealing to the mass audience is that it doesn't usually work, because the mass audience doesn't super... Like, the mass audience goes for things that are good, not necessarily for things that just have the tick boxes a lot of the time. It's like... It's kind of why you run into the issue with, like, say, Ubisoft, aside from the fact that Ubisoft just keeps releasing games to compete with Ubisoft.
Yeah.
But, like, they're also all very, very, very similar in terms of gameplay, map layout, everything. And it's just like, all it is just ticking boxes that they think people want in games. And it's like, a lot of it, and yeah, there are people who will buy things, but I think a lot of it is just people will buy things because it's AAA. So when you're like a smaller company that's trying to do things, that's trying to just hit that mass appeal, but you're not AAA, like Rooster Teeth in its heyday is still not like a AAA animation studio, far from it. It's still niche.
Yeah.
So it's when you're trying to hit like those kind of like mass appeal things, but you don't have the amount of money you need to basically force people in, or force sales. Like, if you're, say, Rockstar, it doesn't matter what game you really put out, you're basically guaranteed $1 billion.
Because you made GTA.
Yeah, well, yeah, because it's like partially everyone goes, hey, I know who Rockstar are. Or people in the know.
Because Rockstar used to publish a lot of like weird niche stuff. But back in the day, they don't anymore, obviously.
Yeah, basically release one game every decade now.
Yeah.
But it's like but that's the point, that one game will then make like $40 billion because people who aren't in the know who they are and know what they do.
Yeah, everyone knows who Rockstar is.
Whereas whenever like smaller companies tend to, and it's not always the case, like sometimes smaller companies do really well. CD Projekt Red is a good example. They went from basically nobodies to a hotshot mega studio, and now they're back to being nobodies again.
Yeah, they kind of shot themselves in the foot with that.
Yeah, but then they basically said that, hey, let's go like full-on mega AAA status. Which basically did exactly what I said a lot of companies do.
Yeah, they fell into their own trappings, basically.
We're going to out AAA the AAA. They don't really have the money and time and the.
They do have a lot of money, to be fair, because
yeah, they do. Like, their problem was they didn't have time.
They didn't give themselves the time, to be fair.
You needed $1 billion. You needed like 100 years to get.
They didn't give themselves the time, and most of their budget went into the marketing.
Yeah.
Like, that's not a joke. That's not a joke. Most of the money went into it.
Yeah, that's the unfortunate reality of game development. A lot of money doesn't get a significant chunk of the
I
budget.
mean, more so even than usual. Like, it was ridiculous, like how much it dwarfed it.
Because they thought they could get away with it. Like,
yeah,
well, we make good games. People like our games, so we'll just make a good game. But we'll make sure everyone knows we're making a good game. And then, unfortunately, the double-edged sword of the marketing is that, well, you make everyone. Then, when it's not a good game, everyone is very much aware that it's not a good game.
Yeah, and they were making a game on a new engine at the time that wasn't really built for what they were doing, or wasn't really tested for it. So the technology had to be created, and it wasn't like, say, with Witcher 2 to Witcher 3, where they still had like assets that they could use and something they could use to build off of. They had to make a whole new thing, and they gave themselves no time, and then they tried to rush it out the door.
Then the other problem is that the more money that gets involved and is thrown around, the less good grace people have. Because, like, if people feel like, because if someone pays like $60 to $80 for a video game, like, it's not unreasonable for them to expect that game to work.
Yeah.
Whereas if you pay nothing for a game, or
not only that, but they even lied about what mechanics were going to be in the game and what kind of game it was going to be.
A lot.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's the.
And by the way, I had one person who totally doesn't have buyer's remorse on it yell at me for that. I'm like, well, they said in development. I'm like, dude, this is like the equivalent of, like, let's say I was making a fighting game, and then like halfway, and then like about like 3 months before release, I go, I decided we're gonna make it a volleyball game. And they didn't get that, and they just kept cycling the same thing. And I was like, oh my god, you're fucking retarded. Oh my god.
Well, I guess actually, minor point I forgot to bring up with RE8. I find it funny that like Kamiya's version of RE4 got spun off into being Devil May Cry because they didn't really want a protagonist with superpowers. And then they've just made RE7 and 8 where they've made a character who's basically immortal.
Yeah.
Like, in-universe.
Yeah. Then again, from what I know about Ethan, I don't really care for Ethan, so I don't fucking...
Well, that's the point. Why should you care for Ethan? And also, this is the kind of thing no one ever talks about. His baby's fuck ugly. No, and do you know what's worse about his baby being fuck ugly, though?
What?
Because of the way the RE engine works, where they have to scan things, it means they have to take a for real fuck ugly baby.
Oh, so you mean like how I always joke about Claire's weird face?
Yeah.
Because she has like this weird baby face?
But it means that they had to
Wait a minute, maybe it was Claire's face. Maybe they used Claire.
I was just saying they had to take a for real ugly baby to scan in to be Ethan's ugly baby for all 2 minutes of screen time she has.
I didn't know Claire was an ugly baby.
And also, man, what a fucking like, oh, what's the one I'm looking for? How fucking like obnoxious is it that they just take the most easy route for trying to make you care for Ethan? It's like, oh no, my wife is missing too. Oh no, my baby daughter is missing. It's like, man, that's so goddamn basic. Why don't you just shoot his fucking dog while you're at it?
All right, we just wrapped up the cutscene and everything, so we're going to wrap up the Robot Wars for today. So it's time to leave.
One final thing, actually. Final thing, sorry, to end it on, is that after knowing the twist and everything, I honestly think Chris was completely in the right if he'd have gunned down Ethan, his wife, and his daughter. They're horrible genetic mutants and they deserve death.
Jesus fuck.
It's time to leave.
Yeah, it's time to leave now. Bye.